Good morning. We begin with a look at the significant political tightrope being walked by United States Vice President J.D. Vance. As President Donald Trump aggressively pursues a war in Iran, Vance finds himself visibly struggling, caught between loyalty to the president and his own long-held convictions regarding foreign intervention. This precarious position increasingly jeopardizes his political future and potential presidential ambitions for 2028. Just reporters have been pressing Vice President Vance for a clear stance on the military operation. His only consistent response has been to urge prayer. He stated, "I think we all, whether Democrats or Republicans, should pray for success and for the safety of our troops." This response appears to be his chosen method of avoiding a clear position on the Iran war. Vance's past casts a long shadow over his current dilemma. As a former Marine soldier, he has established himself within the MAGA movement as one of the most vehement opponents of American military interventions. He has frequently characterized the United States international war on terrorism as a costly and deadly adventure. With Trump's Iran war now underway, Vance is finding himself increasingly under scrutiny and has even been called a fraud by some. During a recent Oval Office appearance, Vance stood directly behind President Trump, who had ordered the deployment. The scene was tense, with Trump seated at his desk, seemingly ready to explode. Reporters barraged Vance with questions about his stance on the foreign operation. Vance deflected, saying, "I know what you are doing. You are trying to drive a wedge between me and the president." He then reiterated his long-standing opposition to Iran possessing nuclear weapons, but he notably refused to explicitly endorse the military action even after more than 2 weeks. In his role as vice president, Vance is expected to fully support President Trump without reservation. However, he cannot afford to alienate a significant portion of the MAGA supporters who view such foreign operations as a betrayal of the America First principle championed by Trump himself. This creates an impossible bind for Vance, who is considered a leading contender for the Republican presidential nomination in 2028. He must avoid sowing doubt in Trump's decisions, yet he cannot enthusiastically agree without risking his base. This war, initially planned as a short engagement, is already costing billions of dollars and tragically more and more American soldiers their lives. Furthermore, the global economic upheaval is impacting United States citizens at home, particularly through significantly increased gasoline prices. President Trump has given no indication of when the war might end. Washington has closely watched the vice president's evasiveness since the war's inception. Rumors are circulating that Vance is falling out of favor with the president, especially as Trump showers praise upon his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, Marco Rubio. Within the Republican Party, voices are reportedly growing louder in favor of Rubio as a more promising option for the 2028 presidential candidacy. Vance's predicament was starkly evident during a campaign appearance last week in North Carolina, a state where the United States military plays an exceptionally vital role. Despite North Carolina being home to 12 significant military bases and having the fourth largest number of active military personnel among all United States states, Vance largely avoided the pressing topic of Iran. Instead, he preferred to discuss immigration policy, tax relief, and allegedly falling prices under the Trump administration. He only briefly touched upon the controversial war at the very end of his speech, first calling for applause for veterans and praising the state's military importance. He then stammered, "But here is the point. You all know that we are currently conducting a military operation." He carefully avoided using the word war. He mentioned the operation was to ensure, as the president has repeatedly stressed, that Iran never acquires a nuclear weapon. Vance acknowledged that many people from North Carolina were in danger because of this foreign mission, but he could not bring himself to utter the word died. Even in North Carolina, Vance shied away from offering a political answer or demanding a swift end to the conflict. He once again used faith as his sole escape, expressing his wish that everyone would say a prayer for soldiers from North Carolina and all 50 states. The resulting applause was polite rather than enthusiastic. When reporters accompanying him asked if he had advised Trump against the operation, Vance cited confidentiality. "I am sorry to have to disappoint you," he said, adding that he would not divulge secret discussions from the White House's Situation Room, "because I do not want to go to jail," Vance concluded. It is clear that President Trump's vice president does not want this war, as it diminishes his chances. What he truly wants is to become president himself someday. To achieve that, he will eventually have to take a clear position. Prayer, it seems, will no longer be enough. What's your take on J.D. Vance's dilemma, loyalty, Iran war, and 2028 ambitions? Share your view in the comments. Do you think this will matter in the next news cycle? This video was generated using artificial intelligence.